My ex thought he could win me back by showing up to my office, smirking, "You still love me, admit it." When I ignored him, he sneered, "You'll never find someone better." Moments later, my boss walked over and kissed me. My ex's face went pale as my boss smirked. She already did. I'm not the kind of woman who plans revenge. I never thought I had it in me. I always figured if someone hurt me, I'd cry, maybe yell a little, then move on. But I learned something the hard way. When someone shatters your trust and treats you like garbage, and then walks back into your life like they're doing you a favor, you don't just forget. You don't just move on. Sometimes, life gives you the perfect setup to hit back. And when it happens, you don't blink. I'm 33 now. This happened last year here in Kansas City. I work in a mid-sized marketing firm on the north end of downtown, about 2 blocks from where the old Sprint Center used to be. I had a steady job, good coworkers, and my life was finally settling after a rough couple of years. The man I was with before it all started, his name was Aaron. He was charming. The kind of man who made you feel like you were the only woman in the world, at first. Tall, confident, always dressed sharp. Ran his own small tech company and loved talking about it like he was building the next Apple. We were together for 4 years. Looking back, I ignored the signs. He was always friendly with women. Flirted openly. Kept his phone glued to him like it held the secrets to national security. He once told me if I ever went through it, we'd be done. Should have seen that as a red flag. I caught him cheating through sheer accident. I wasn't snooping. I was trying to play a podcast on his iPad one night while he was in the shower. It was already open, and the Messages app popped up. I saw a text from my friend Jenna, saying, "Last night was insane. Can't stop thinking about you." I stared at the screen, thinking it had to be a mistake. But it wasn't. Messages went back months. Some nights he told me he was working late, he was with her. He even talked about how I'd never know because I was too loyal. I didn't scream, didn't cry in front of him. I took pictures of every message, sent them to myself, packed a bag, and walked out. I stayed at my brother's for a few weeks, then got my own place. Never looked back. He tried calling. A lot. Sent flowers. Showed up outside my job once. Security kicked him out. I blocked his number. Blocked Jenna too. It was over. Or so I thought. Months passed. I got into therapy. I got back into shape. Started caring about myself again. I stayed single. Just focused on work. But I started getting close to someone I didn't expect, my boss. Eric. He was different. Quiet. Smart. Focused. Ran the whole department, but never made anyone feel small. We'd talked before, mostly about projects. After the breakup, he checked in a lot. It started with, "How are you holding up?" and turned into late-night talks after everyone else had gone home. He was respectful, patient, careful not to cross lines. But I knew something was there. I felt it. One night, he offered to walk me to my car because it was snowing hard. When we got there, I turned to say thanks and he kissed me. Soft, real, and nothing like Aaron ever made me feel. We kept things quiet at work, but people started noticing. A few coworkers teased me. One even joked, "So when's the wedding?" I just smiled. Then came that day. It was a Tuesday. Cold, gray, and I was running behind. Big pitch coming up. I barely had time to eat. I was at my desk, zoning in on client notes, when I heard a voice that made my skin crawl. "Well, you haven't changed." I turned. Aaron. Standing there like he belonged. Same smug grin. Same cocky stance. Wearing a coat that probably cost more than my rent. "I miss that look," he said, eyes scanning me up and down. I didn't say a word. "You still love me, admit it," he said, like it was some romantic movie. Still, I didn't speak. He laughed and looked around the room. "Come on, you'll never find someone better than me." That's when Eric walked over. He didn't say a word. He just stepped up behind me, put a hand gently on my back, and kissed me. Right there. In front of the whole team. It wasn't some show-off kiss. It was real. Quiet, but powerful. Protective. Then Eric looked Aaron dead in the face and said, "She already did." Aaron's face dropped. Like all the blood rushed out of his body. His eyes twitched. His mouth opened, but nothing came out. He looked around, probably realizing everyone was watching. Then he turned and walked straight out the door. I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. Because Aaron wasn't the type to let things go. And the way he came back into my life. Quiet at first, then loud, dangerous even, was something I never saw coming. That little moment in the office? That was just the match. The real fire was still on its way. After that office scene, I thought Aaron would crawl back to whatever hole he'd come from. I figured maybe his ego got bruised, and that was enough to keep him away. I was wrong. At first, it was small things. Blocked numbers calling my phone. Hang-ups. Then text messages from random area codes, stuff like, "You'll regret this," or "He's using you." I knew it was him. I didn't even have to ask. I blocked every number. Then I noticed someone started following me on Instagram from weird accounts. One had no posts, no profile pic, but followed all the people in my office. Another one used my old photos, pictures I deleted a year ago. It creeped me out, but I still tried to push it out of my head. Then it got worse. One morning I got into my car and there was a note tucked under the windshield. Just one line, typed out on a strip of paper like someone used a label maker. "He won't protect you forever." I stared at it for a long time. My hands were shaking. I drove straight to the office. Told Eric. He didn't say much. Just stood there, jaw clenched. That night, Eric followed me home in his truck and stayed parked outside until I went to bed. The next day, he installed cameras around my apartment. Front door, back stairwell, even a dash cam in my car. But Aaron wasn't done. One afternoon, our company's HR manager, Sheila, pulled me into a meeting. "There's been a complaint," she said. I blinked. "What kind of complaint?" She looked uncomfortable. "A conflict of interest. An anonymous report. Claims you're in a relationship with your supervisor and receiving favoritism." My stomach turned. My skin went cold. I knew right then. It was him. I asked Sheila if there was proof. She said they were looking into it, but until then, I had to be temporarily reassigned to a different team. Away from Eric. That meant no working late together. No projects together. It was like being ripped from the one part of my life that finally felt safe. Eric was furious, but calm about it. He called a lawyer that same day. That's when things flipped. The lawyer ran a private search and found something. Aaron had created 2 fake LinkedIn accounts and submitted the complaint through them. Not only that, but one of the email addresses used to make the accounts traced back to a domain owned by his company. It was stupid, reckless, and illegal. Eric sent everything to HR, and our company lawyer took over from there. But I could feel it. Aaron wasn't scared. Not yet. Not enough. One night, about a week after all this, I came home and found my apartment door open. Nothing was missing. Nothing broken. But someone had been inside. My fridge was cracked open. My bedroom door was swung all the way back when I always keep it mostly closed. One of my drawers had been pulled out halfway. My bed looked like someone sat on it. I backed out of the apartment, called the cops, and waited in my car with a knife from my glove box in my lap. The cops came, took a report, said there were no signs of forced entry. That scared me more, because that meant whoever it was had a key. And only one person outside of management ever had a copy of my spare key from my old place, Aaron. I forgot I'd given it to him back when we lived together. He must have made a copy before I moved. I changed the locks the next day, filed a restraining order, sent the police report to my building. But it still didn't stop him. Aaron started showing up near places he knew I went. Coffee shop near my work. Grocery store by my apartment. Never close enough to be caught. Always just outside, across the street, like he was trying to remind me he was still watching. Then one night, Eric got a call. His ex-wife had been contacted by someone claiming Eric was harassing employees at work. Told her he was sleeping his way up the chain. Tried to mess with her custody arrangement just to rattle him. Eric broke down that night. I'd never seen him like that before. He sat on my couch, head in his hands, just breathing hard, trying to stay calm. He said, "This isn't just about you anymore. He wants to ruin both of us." I asked him, "What are we going to do?" He looked at me, quiet for a long time. Then said, "We're going to burn everything he cares about." When Eric said we were going to burn everything Aaron cared about, I didn't know what he meant at first. I thought he was speaking out of anger. Maybe just blowing off steam. But Eric wasn't the kind of man to speak without a plan. 2 days later, he sat me down and showed me something on his laptop. It was a spreadsheet. Names, dates, emails, and invoices tied to Aaron's company. I had someone look into his financials, Eric said. This guy used business loans to fund personal vacations. Labeled personal expenses as tech development. If he gets audited, he's screwed. I stared at the screen. This is real. Eric nodded. He used Jenna's name too. Paid her out under a fake consulting title. I don't think she even knows. It's all in here. I felt sick, but also something else. A flicker of control coming back. Like we were finally standing up instead of just ducking blows. Eric gave the files to an attorney. They filed a whistleblower report through the IRS and submitted evidence to a state-level fraud investigation unit. All anonymously. Aaron didn't know yet, but soon he would. Still, even as we made our moves, he kept coming. He emailed my mom, told her I was spiraling, said I was dating my boss to get ahead. My mom doesn't mess around. She called me crying but angry, asking if I was okay. I told her everything. She didn't hesitate. "You want me to call the cops or call his mother?" she said. "Either way, I'll bury him." I told her no because I knew what was coming for him would be worse. Then Jenna called me. Out of nowhere. I hadn't heard her voice in nearly a year. She sounded rattled. Shaky, like she'd been crying for hours. "He dumped me," she said. "Said he needed to fix things with you." I almost laughed. He was never going to fix anything. "He told me you were threatening him," she said. "Told me if he goes down, it's because you wanted to ruin him." I told her the truth. All of it. The stalking, the fake complaints, the break-in, the report to the IRS. Silence. Then she whispered, "He used my name on money transfers." I saw them. I didn't know what it was for. Now she was scared too. She offered to give us her messages with Aaron. The ones where he talked about me, about making her pay, about getting her fired. She sent us everything. Over 70 screenshots. Even a voice memo where he joked about screwing her over just like she did me. Eric added it to the legal file. Then, the bomb dropped. 3 weeks later, Aaron's company was raided. Agents showed up at his office, took his computers, locked down his accounts. The business went dark overnight. People started talking. Clients pulled out. 2 of his biggest contracts terminated within 48 hours. He was done. I thought that was the end of it. But then he tried one last move. He filed a harassment claim against Eric and me. Said we were retaliating against him. Said we had used company resources to track and threaten him. He even submitted doctored emails that he faked to look like they came from my work account. It would have worked. Except one thing ruined him completely. He used the wrong email signature. Eric's assistant caught it. Aaron had copied my email footer, but used an old title I hadn't held in over a year. The dates didn't match. IT traced the source IP of the email. It led straight back to Aaron's house. That was it. Lawyers got involved. The restraining order was made permanent. He was charged with filing a false report, stalking, and obstruction. His name hit the local paper. Jenna gave a statement. So did I. He lost his business. His professional license. And as far as I know, he moved to some small town in southern Missouri, trying to disappear. But we weren't done. Because Eric found out something else, something personal Aaron cared about even more than his business. Eric didn't let it go. Not after everything Aaron had done. He wanted the final nail in the coffin, something that would make sure Aaron couldn't climb back. And he found it. Aaron had a younger brother. Name was Mark. Worked at a community nonprofit in Kansas City, helping kids in after-school programs. Aaron used to brag about him all the time, called him the only decent one in the family. Mark was quiet, clean-cut, well-respected. He kept his distance from Aaron's drama. I only met him once during the years Aaron and I dated. Turns out, Mark was the one person Aaron still had a good reputation with. Until Eric met him for coffee. It wasn't planned to be dirty. Eric just wanted to warn him. Told him everything. Showed him the evidence, screenshots, recordings, even the fake harassment claim. Mark sat there for over an hour silent. Then he stood up and walked out. 2 days later, Mark made a public post online. He called out his own brother. Said he couldn't stay quiet anymore. Said he was ashamed. It went viral locally, especially since people already knew Aaron's name from the fraud charges. Aaron lost everything after that. People stopped defending him. His last few business friends cut ties. And word got around fast. A few local news blogs picked up the story, including quotes from Jenna and me. Aaron became that guy in town. The creep. The liar. The fraud. But here's where it turned on me too. Because revenge comes at a price. I was promoted at work, but some people whispered that I only got ahead because of Eric. Didn't matter that I had years of experience, that I worked overtime, that I helped land 2 major accounts. To some people, I was just the girl who dated the boss. I started noticing coworkers being cold. One friend I'd known for 5 years stopped inviting me to team lunches. One even asked me, "So what's it like sleeping your way up?" That stung more than I expected. Eric saw it too. He offered to step down or transfer, but I told him not to. That wasn't fair. We hadn't done anything wrong. Still, it got heavy. One night, Eric and I got into a fight. It started small, something about the bills. Then it got personal. "You think you're over it, but you're not," he said. "And you think revenge fixed everything, but we're still here, dealing with the mess." I snapped back. We didn't speak for a full day. But we didn't give up either. Eventually, I left the company. Took a job with a remote marketing firm. Eric stayed a while longer, then followed me out a few months later. We moved into a quiet house in Lee's Summit. No office gossip. No drama. Just peace. I still have the screenshots. All of them. A folder on my desktop called Truth. Sometimes I look at them and think, was it worth it? Yes. Because even though revenge doesn't fix everything, it gives you back one thing they tried to steal: your voice. Aaron tried to control me. Tried to own my story. He tried to walk into my life, smile that smug little smile, and act like he was the best I'd ever do. But when he walked into my office and Eric kissed me in front of him, that was the moment he realized he wasn't the one holding the power anymore. I was. And I never let him take it again.